I'm Harrison Graham. We got a lot to get to here on today's show. We finally hear from DJ Moore after the disappointing end to the season with that loss in LA. What did he say about that final play for the Bears offense and about his future in Chicago? Eric Studesville, I want to dive deeper into his resume and some of the running backs he's worked with. Plus, Ryan Poles has already re-signed a Bears free agent. He's back for next season. We'll tell you who that is and react to that as well. But if you want to support me, I am all over social media, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. It's the same handle, at HGrahamNFL. On Facebook, if you're on the app, just search Harrison Graham Chat Sports. You'll find me. And if you're on your desktop or want to just type it into your browser, it's facebook.com/HGrahamNFL. There's not really handles on Facebook, but kept it consistent there with the link. Just launched my Facebook business profile, so I would love some more support over there. But if you want to support me on socials, I am all over the place on all of those platforms. All right, DJ Moore sounding off at the Super Bowl. He talked to Jarrett Payton. He talked to CHGO and others. And I want to react to some of the stuff he had to say. This quote was via CHGO, so credit to those guys for getting this from him. I think Adam Johns got the interview. What happened from your perspective, DJ, on that interception in overtime against the Rams? Because remember, we didn't hear from DJ after the game. He said it was just a miscommunication. We got to attack it next time we get something like that and just go from there. And look, they've been consistent in what they've said. Caleb multiple times when pressed about it, it was just a miscommunication. Ben Johnson didn't lay blame on anybody. I still would like to see a veteran receiver flatten that out based on the leverage of the safety. I think that's how Caleb saw it, but clearly publicly no one's throwing anybody under the bus, which is probably how it should be handled. I wouldn't have minded if DJ was like, yeah, I wish I would have flattened that route out or something like that, but I don't think he's ducking smoke either. So, you just got to hope in the future if DJ is here that they're on the same page in a big situation like that. Speaking of his future, he was asked, do you want to be a part of this moving forward? You were finally on a winning team this year. He said, I would love to stay with the Bears. Like I told them, Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson, in our exit meeting, I love being here. I really didn't have any expectations for this year, but everything went out the window when we got Ben. I was all in on this team. And one thing that is absolutely true about DJ Moore is his toughness and playing through injuries. He was banged up all year, so you do definitely appreciate his efforts in that regard to suit up every single Sunday. And look, it'll be interesting to see what happens. We've talked about it a lot. He's a guy you could trade to save money. You could restructure him to clear out some space. And you got Luther Burden and Rome Odunze. So how do all of these pieces fit together moving forward? You got Colson Loveland, who you want to continue to run a lot of your offense through. So, there's a lot of mouths to feed. If DJ Moore's here, I don't think we're going to see a guy putting up numbers that he did in 2023 when he was getting force-fed, because he was the only good player really in the offense that year. So I think he understands that, which that's the good thing. And he talked about it this year. He's like, look, I've just been happy that I was winning this year. I've never been on a winning team. But, you're probably going to see more of what we saw this year, where the yards per catch will be better than what we saw in 2024. But he's probably not a guy catching 90 footballs in this offense moving forward, because you want to continue to get Loveland touches. You want to continue to have Luther Burden ascend. You get Rome Odunze back in the fold. He's probably a guy that catches 50 to 60 balls, 600 to 800 yards. If he's cool with that, and if the price tag can come down, hey, bring him back. I'm cool with that. DJ Moore's a good football player, but he's getting paid wide receiver one money, and he's not really that for this team anymore. Which is fine. But when you have options to clear cap, when you have bigger needs on the roster, especially defensively, his next 3 years, $28.5 million cap hit. You trade him this year, you save $16.5. Next year, $20.5. Last 2 years, $24.5, including in 2029, where you could get him completely off the books. I do not expect him to still be here in 2029, certainly. But his 4-year extension in some ways is really just starting to kick in this year. But the guaranteed money, a good chunk of that has already been paid out. Another option, which we've discussed, is a restructure. And you could save up to $16.8 million, depending on if you want to do a maximum restructure or a partial restructure or whatever the case may be. Would he take a pay cut? I doubt it. He's still in his 20s. I don't think he's in the business of taking pay cuts at this stage in his career. But the Bears have options. They could pursue a trade. They could restructure some or all of his contract for this year and convert it into a signing bonus and kick money down the road, which increases the cap hits down the road. So, you're playing a balancing game, present and future. And again, I like DJ Moore. He's a good player, but his contract doesn't match his production, regardless of whose fault it is. There's just too many weapons where none of these guys are probably going to have 1,300 yards, and if one of them is, it's probably not DJ Moore. That's just how it seemed if we watched the offense this year objectively. So I'm curious to see what it is. I'm open-minded to him returning. I'm open-minded to trading him too, because this is a business and you have bigger needs on this team. But one thing I am confident in, and I've said this since the end of the season, his cap hit will not be $28.5 million this year. They will either trade him or they will restructure him or he will take a pay cut. I do not think he will play out 2026 under that cap hit. It just does not make sense from the Bears roster construction standpoint. So whatever they do, it won't just be nothing. They will do something to adjust that contract for DJ Moore. Do you want DJ Moore back in 2026? Type Y for yes, or you can type in for no. Again, I'd like to have him back. I'm not anti-DJ Moore. I'm anti-DJ Moore's cap hit being $28.5 million. That's what I'm anti. When you need some pass rushers, you need a safety, you probably need a linebacker. You got bigger needs to fill on this roster. All right, coming up, Eric Studesville, impressive resume. We've already talked about him a decent bit as the Bears have hired a running backs coach who's been coaching in the NFL for more than 3 decades. I'm going to kind of dive into him a little bit more. Plus, don't forget the Bears have re-signed a player. But we got to dive into today's sponsor first because there's one game left this football season. The big game, and it's almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. If you want to take one of the quarterbacks in the big game more or less on their passing yards, rush yards, and touchdowns, you can, all in one lineup, only on Prize Picks. You got a big game max discount with one of the quarterbacks, Drake May, half passing yard. Boom. You already are halfway home on a 2-player lineup. 2 to 6-player lineups. Pick more, pick less on the stat projections available. You qualify for a lineup with Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. Okay, let's take a deeper dive, or just a different angle, I guess, into Eric Studesville, the new running backs coach who was actually the Bears receiver coach in the late 90s, and then he's bounced around the league, running back coaches several different places, has been with Miami since 2017, multiple different head coaches, which goes to show kind of the respect he's garnered from different individuals throughout his time, including Ben Johnson, who was with him in his early part of his Miami tenure before Ben ended up in Detroit. Eric Studesville has coached 7 different running backs to 1,000-yard rushing seasons and 12 1,000-yard rushing seasons from one individual in total. So these 7 players combined for 12 1,000-yard rushing seasons. Tiki Barber in the early 2000s with the Giants had a couple of them. Willis McGahee with Buffalo. Marshawn Lynch with Buffalo. Fred Jackson with Buffalo. Knowshon Moreno got 1,000-plus yards out of him in Denver. Raheem Mostert had the best year of his career under him in Miami. And now Achane, who had over 1,300 rushing yards this year. And again, 12 different 1,000-yard rushing seasons for one individual, not like as a team, under him as the running backs coach since he's been a running backs coach in the early 2000s. It's really impressive. He's put together quite the resume here. And what impresses me is when you think about some of those names, Knowshon Moreno, Fred Jackson, like sure, he had Tiki Barber and he had Marshawn Lynch, Willis McGahee. It's not like these are all pros and Hall of Famers, right? Raheem Mostert. He's getting the most out of a lot of these guys. And that's exactly what Eric Bieniemy did this year. with DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. DeAndre Swift had the best year of his career. Most efficient year of his career. I think the most total yardage of his career, as he almost had 1,400 all-purpose yards. Kyle Monangai, as a 7th-round rookie, was one of the 4 or 5 best rookie running backs in the NFL. And so losing Eric Bieniemy was a big loss for a position coach. Well, Eric Studesville is one of the best in the business at what he does. There's a reason he's been coaching in the NFL for over 3 decades and as a running backs coach since 2001. He's really, really good at coaching running backs. And so I expect whoever the Bears running backs are this year, if it's Swift and Monangai, or if they bring in somebody else to pair with Monangai, if they want to pivot off of DeAndre Swift, whatever it is, I expect them to be productive at that position. Why? Because Eric Studesville has a strong, long resume, and we know Ben Johnson's system really works at running the football, and he's got a good offensive line to run behind whoever these running backs are. So I'm pretty amped about this hire. I think it's a really good recovery after losing Bieniemy, and I also think it's another check box in the Ben Johnson column early on here. Like, yeah, Eric Bieniemy, notable loss. How about Eric Studesville, who's been doing it for 30 years? That's pretty good response from old Benny J. So nice pickup, and I like what he's been able to do with a lot of different stylistic running backs. Who do you guys think is the leading rusher on the Bears next season? Type DS for DeAndre Swift, KM for Kyle Monangai. I would guess Swift if both are here. I still think he would be the lead back, but I think you'll continue to see kind of a pretty even split moving forward, which is what we saw after the first month and a half of the season. Okay, today's news of the day. Shout out Kevin Fishbane. Quick roster note, he says, Theo Benedet, who was an exclusive rights free agent, is signed for 2026, 1 year, $1 million. Collegiate right tackle, never played a snap at left tackle before training camp, started 8 games, finished 4th in ESPN's run block win rate among offensive tackles. Now gets a full offseason to train at left tackle. Couple things here. One, no-brainer for the Bears. ERFAs, if you offer the tender, they either sign it, which is a 1-year vet minimum deal, or they can't play. So easy decision for the Bears because at worst, he's a good backup offensive lineman. Another angle here is what a story. They found this guy as a UDFA out of Canada a couple years ago, and he ended up starting like half the season for you at left tackle. Yeah, he's got limitations, especially in pass pro, but, jumbo package guy, serviceable starter. Now, I don't think you roll into next season with him as your starting left tackle. I think at minimum there's a competition there, but he's got a great opportunity and a great find by Ryan Poles, who one thing he's really been good at is finding these kind of diamond-in-the-rough UDFAs. I mean, you think about it over the years, the Jack Sanborns, the Theo Benedet, the Josh Blackwells, the Jalen Jones, Jade Walker, Tyson Bagent, all those guys have spent time on the 53, and they've all contributed as undrafted free agents. It's pretty impressive. So a great find by the Bears and a no-brainer to bring him back. And, we'll see how this left tackle thing plays out. But Theo's very valuable because he's versatile in terms of what positions he can play. Would I bet on him being the season-long left tackle? Probably not, but he'll be in the mix. And he will be on the 53, and he costs you no money. So that is a great value and a no-brainer re-signing for the Chicago Bears. So kudos to the Bears. Not wasting any time and locking that in. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Chicago Bears Now. We will continue to pump out content, so hit that subscribe button. Follow me on my social platforms, and as always, bear down.